Hi, I'm Mike McGrath, Education Director here at the Scout Victory Garden at Akridge Scout Reservation near Camden, Delaware. And this is the fourth in our series of videos helping you get started here at our community garden. This one we're going to talk about mulching, staking, weeding, and pruning. These are all important things as your plants come up and begin to grow. I mentioned mulching in the last video, but I want to emphasize again that a good mulch around your plants as they grow and mature will provide soil conservation, conservation of moisture, protection from diseases that splash up from the soil. It'll also help moderate the temperature of the soil and have many benefits for the plants. And the main thing is, it'll really help you when it comes to controlling weeds. Main thing with mulch is make sure you have enough. As the plants grow, don't smother them out, but a good 4 to 6 inches of mulch will be necessary to really control the weeds. Let's talk for a minute about weeding. If there's one thing in the garden that probably defeats more gardeners than anything else, it's failure to properly control weeds. The secret to weed control is to get those weeds early, before they start robbing your crops of moisture, shading out small plants, and otherwise competing with the vegetables that you're trying to grow. So weeding is important, and your big tool in that regard is our hoe. I've got my little hoe here, and the key thing remember about hoe, remember I told you before, keep that edge sharp, and then get those weeds when they're small. I recommend coming out to your garden plot at least once a week and hoeing the entire area for any weeds. Sometimes even before you see them, when they're really small, that's when to get the weeds, not when they get big and hard to pull or hard to chop out. Going just below the surface with the edge of your sharp hoe and watching that you don't get close to your plants, which the hoe could nick them and damage them. You're just stirring the soil. It's also providing what we call a soil mulch layer. Now again, if you've mulched, what you're probably going to be doing is just pulling out the weeds that begin to emerge in or through the mulch. But if you haven't mulched some areas or you haven't gotten around to it yet, your hoe is going to be your real tool to take care of that. Now let's talk about staking. In order to maximize your yields in a small garden area, staking can be a very good technique to follow. Some examples of plants you might want to stake include tomatoes, the indeterminate or all-season growing type of tomatoes, string beans that are called pole beans, lima beans that are pole beans, and even some varieties of cucumbers do very well when staked up or grown on trellises. Those stakes only need to be 4 or 5 feet. Even lower can be fine for tomatoes. Now some people use wire cages for tomatoes. Personally, I prefer stakes. This will allow you to prune and keep the plants within their bounds, to use more plants per square foot, and it allows more air and sunlight to get to the leaves of your plants, and all those things will increase your yields. Keeping the plants and fruit off the ground also helps control diseases. And finally, I'd like to talk about pruning. You might think, well, in a vegetable garden, will I do any pruning? Yes, you will. Tomatoes perform much better once they're pruned, and you'll find a video down in our description area below this video that shows exactly how to prune tomato plants. But pruning those tomatoes will bring on earlier fruit, larger fruit, and fruit that will last over a longer season. All these things are advantages and will increase your yields. Also, some pruning can be used on things like cucumbers and others when the load on the plant just gets too large. You can actually increase the total yield by pruning some of the excess fruit. Well, all these techniques are ones that will help you improve your garden performance, get more vegetables out of your garden for your family and friends to use, and will give you more enjoyment in seeing a neat and tended garden. I hope you've enjoyed this fourth video in our series, and look again below in the description for more information about these topics that we've covered. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to click the bell if you want to be notified of new videos. And remember, if you have questions or people you know want to join our community garden here at Akridge, tell them to give the garden coordinator a call. I'm Mike McGrath. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in our next video.